Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, February 14th, 2022. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And I'm going to call the Prescott regular city council meeting to order. We'll take roll call. Tom.
Here.
Rob. Here.
Here.
Pat. Here. I think Maureen is absent, and Bailey was going to try to get online. You gave her contact. So Bailey might jump in. If not, we're all going to stand and say a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Anybody in the audience that would like to speak to the council on anything on the agenda? Now is the time to step forward, state your name, address, and what you want to say. Yes, you do. That way you get on TV.
Oh, good.
Say hi to your mom if you want. If you want.
I don't think it's on then.
Okay.
Nikki Anderson on behalf of Leo's Landing, and we'd like to talk to the Parks and Public
Basically,
about our lease agreement.
she'd like to negotiate more. They did sign the 2-year lease, correct?
It's in the works.
It's in the works. We haven't.
I talked to her, she hasn't heard back on
Right.
So,
anything.
yeah, so
But you
we'll,
did respond back.
more than likely, Matt, we'll take care of that and get her on the Parks Club property. And
Okay.
Okay.
they want to be an option. She asked me, I said, yeah, you can give us your options, and city can consider that. We got 2 years to talk about it, so. All right, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you very much. Any other want public comments? Chief?
Thanks.
Just checking. All right, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, regular city council meeting of January 24th, ordinance of January 24th, personnel of February 2nd, planning commission of February 7th, cash balances in the budget year to date, payables, payroll, and receivables.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion made second, approve the consent agenda and the 7 items I had just read. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is report of standing committees. Nothing for finance, there's no budget yet going on. I don't think we need to do any borrowing. Public Works, the next meeting is February 28th, Monday at 5 p.m. I think that's you, Robert.
It is.
Charge, right?
Yep.
Planning Commission meeting, it's always the first Monday of every month. The next one will be on March 8th at 6 p.m. Parks and Public Properties, which would be one you're probably interested in. Next meeting's next Monday, February 21st, 2022 at 5 p.m. Licensing, we have nothing, I assume. Ordinance, we got, looks like 6 or 7 items to go through. First one is the second reading and possible waiver of the third reading of ordinance 01-22, an ordinance to repeal and replace. I don't have memorized, they're not listed. Which one was that?
There's the room tax. The
Room tax, there you go. All right, I don't know if this has been presented once before, and Matt, I think, included his memo again from last time. And I don't know if anybody heard any comments or questions about it.
I haven't heard anything.
Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the second reading and possibly the third. That is up to the person who makes a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 01-22 second and waive the third reading.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Motion made second to approve the second reading, waive the third reading of ordinance 01-22, which is the room tax ordinance. Is there any other discussion on the motion?
Just a question, so if I understand this right, this will not include Airbnbs and things along those lines, so it's just hotels,
No.
motels,
It will include Airbnbs.
Anything
It
under
will.
30 days.
anything under 30 days? Okay,
Good question, though.
thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the first reading, possible waiver of the second, third reading of ordinance 02-22, and I believe that is the sewer connection fee revision.
No.
Any discussion? Anybody want Matt to explain it? I see he did put out the memo February 10th, so this is new somewhat. So I
I
don't know if
make
you want
a
to give it.
correction, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I have 022 as the tax imposition and distribution tax.
Hold on here.
Yes.
I don't know mine.
0122.
Ordinance to repeal city ordinance section imposition tax and distribution tax.
Well, I meant 0222, if I said 01, I meant to say 02 on the second one. That first one you made motion on was for 0122, and that would have been for the room tax.
Oh,
Okay, now I'm down to the first reading, and I might have read it wrong. First reading, possible second, waive second, third of 0222, which is the sewer connection, construction and connection ordinance.
I think I see what, I'm with you now. They were connected to each other and I thought it was jumping on.
Yeah, the memo goes before that.
Okay, so let's jump back just 1 second.
Oh, that's fine.
So this one of the imposition of the tax and the distribution of the tax.
That was the one you just approved.
Is the
for
one I
room
just
tax.
approved.
Yep, that's the room tax one. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and then Matt does a memo, and then he has the
All right, thank you for clearing
resolution.
that up for me.
No problem, thanks for double checking. So yeah, Matt, if you want to just give a quick overview of the sewer connection fee, everyone should have read it, but the crowd can.
Sure. So the sewer
Audience.
connection fee is set at $4,750. One of the things, though, we did have some issues with some of the recent developments is just clarifying some language in terms of 470-3, which is sewer construction and connection fees. So we did have some revisions. One of those revisions being addressing who pays the fee, and that is any new development with land subdivision or new development without subdivision and pre-existing land is annexed into the city. It also addresses when the fee is paid and at the time of building permit, or if there is no building permit, it requires that at the time of water meter installation. And then finally, we clarified some language which addresses how much is required to be paid, which is the payment of the sewer connection fee shall be paid based on the number of residential living units. So that, I'll turn it over to council for any questions or comments on that.
Any questions, any clarification anybody needs?
This fee is for a development or for an individual unit?
New house.
For each individual unit? Yeah.
So, yep, so if you have a duplex, they would both pay, each unit would pay the $4,750.
Any other questions?
I'll motion to approve the first reading of the ordinance 2-22 to repeal and replace the city ordinance 470-3.
Second. Okay, motion made second to do just the first reading, which is good, gives everyone a chance to digest a little bit more. Ordinance 0222, repealing a 470.3 sewer construction and connections. All right, is there any discussion on the motion? All right, if hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the first reading and possible waiver, third reading of 0322, an ordinance to repeal and replace. Is this a sign ordinance one?
Yes.
Okay. And Matt, I think this is the first time it's come before the council, so do you want to just give a quick overview of it again?
Sure. So back in 2010, when we electronically codified our code, one of the things that occurred, or we believe occurred, was that there was a large section of our sign ordinance that was dropped off as a result of that. Specifically, the code established what kind of signs can be put where and how big the size of the signs can be. For instance, in our sign ordinance currently we don't address bulletin board signs, or bulletin boards. We don't address like wall signs. We don't address monument signs and things of that nature. So when we went back and looked at that code, one of the things that we pulled was from 2010 was that additional language that we did add, and what's present and attached today and it's highlighted in yellow in your packet as well. We brought this first to the ordinance committee, which approved the revisions 3-0, and then we discussed it with planning commission as well, which approved it 7-0 as well. So kind of just going back and taking the language as it was back in 2010 and putting that in there is what we're proposing for the sign ordinance.
So the company who had codified might have just accidentally dropped it off. We never noticed it and adopted it. That's pretty simple. I think that's what happened. So, any questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion. maybe waive the second and third.
Yeah, motion to approve the first reading and waive the second and third reading of ordinance 3-22, an ordinance to repeal and replace city ordinance 635-65.
Second.
Motion made second, approve, first reading, and waiving the second, third reading of ordinance 0322, sign ordinance. Is there any other discussion on the motion, or is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Looks like another new ordinance here, and I'm gonna let Matt present it, but it's, for, first reading, possible waiver, second, third of ordinance 0422, an ordinance to repeal and replace city ordinance 435-3, which is, firearms, hunting, archery, explosive, and projectiles. So Matt, you wanna give a quick one there too, please?
Yes, per Wisconsin state statute, it is illegal to carry a firearm within a public building. However, we do not have anything within our city code. So in talking with Eric, one of the things that he requests is so we could actually put it as a municipal fine, get it on the books, is get it added to our code. So it is within there specifically stating that you cannot, no person shall carry a firearm, whether or not concealed, loaded, or unloaded, into any building owned, occupied, or operated by the city of Prescott, or any special event organized, operated by the city of Prescott, subject to that state statute. So that is within ordinance 04-22, and it highlighted additionally in attachment A in terms of the language we would be adding.
All right, thank you. Any questions, anybody?
I just have one quick one.
Yep.
I got rid of some firearms and I brought them up to Matt's office to drop
Eric.
them off.
To Eric's office.
Eric,
Yep.
excuse me. And I'm just wondering if we are now making that something that you can't do.
No.
Okay.
No, that's for, so if you walk in the building out here, and it
Yes,
says no firearms allowed in here,
yes.
that's because the city doesn't want firearms being concealed or carried openly in here. And while it does say it on our building up there, you brought them up for a totally different reason than what, this is intended to prevent.
Well, I think I contacted you too.
Right.
You did beforehand. Yep.
I'm just concerned that if somebody wants to get rid of non-functioning firearms, that we're not putting a roadblock up.
I don't think so. So the statute doesn't say you cannot carry firearms in a public building, all right? The statute says you cannot carry or concealed or open carry in a place that's posted, right? So the reason that we did this is because we do have it posted here,
Yes,
but no way to enforce it, right? I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that the person like yourself that's trying to get rid of non-functioning firearms is gonna be weary to bring them up to us with that sign on our door. I think they're gonna understand that that's more meant for the people that maybe wanna do harm or,
Loaded firearms.
oh, absolutely.
loaded firearms and things like that. I don't think that that's gonna deter an individual like you from coming up and bringing us those things that they wanna get rid of or dispose of.
Yep.
I truly don't.
People like you would probably call like you did, say, hey, I got some firearms, where to get rid of them?
And it does happen. I mean, you're not the first one to actually call us and say, hey, I got this firearm or this ammunition that I want to get rid of. How do we do that? And then we just say, bring it up to us, we'll get rid of it for you. And then we send it off to the crime lab and they destroy it.
I think that's pretty common, and some communities have turn-in days.
Yep, gun buybacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, that was my only.
Good question, good question. Any other questions or thoughts? If not, I'll entertain a motion for at least the first reading and possible waiver of the second, third reading of ordinance 0422.
I'll make a motion to pass the ordinance 422 and waive the second and third readings.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made, second to approve, first reading and waive second, third reading of ordinance 0422, which was the firearms in public buildings, like firearms, hunting, archery, explosive, and projectiles. Any further discussion on this motion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, first reading, possible second waiver of the second and third reading of ordinance 0522, in order to repeal and replace city ordinance 635-108, which likes developers deposit and the city fee schedule.
Thank you, Mayor. So one of the things that we have run into and that we'd like to try to address is currently, as we collect fees for development, one of the things that we have to try to do is either keep a detailed list as we go through, and then at the end of a project, have that whole list compiled and then sent to a developer after the project is finished, which can be difficult at times, or bill them each individually as they come through. So some of the things that we run into with new projects are, for instance, stormwater review. If somebody, anything over 2,000 square feet is required to be paved with asphalt, and as a result, they do have to have catch basins and a stormwater pond. So we have our city engineer review. Additionally, if there's a development agreement that's part of it, we have our attorney either drafted or at least review and consult it. Additionally, there can be other fees that we just, each project is unique in its own right, so we can't really guarantee what projects are going to cost us in terms of the development. So one of the things we did look at, and specifically in looking at Muskego, Wisconsin, New Berlin, Wisconsin, is looking at a developer deposit policy, which is essentially, as part of any development, we would require an escrow fund up front, which we call a developer deposit. We take that money in addition to the application fee, and then we put it into a separate account, and then as a project develops, we draw upon that deposit and draw down upon it, and then whatever remaining at the end of that project, once they receive their certificate of occupancy and the project is finished, then we return whatever money is left over. And if any time we would keep that detailed record, the developer wants to know what the money is spent on, they can request it from us and we'd show them exactly how it was spent. So that's one of the items before you in this memo. And so as part of that, we are asking for City Code 635-108, which does address fees for zoning, would be changed and add that developer deposit to the code. Additionally, what is before you tonight is the 2022 city fee table. There's a list, I won't go through everything that is being proposed in terms of changes. We did look at it at one of our last meeting, and go over that. And one of the things that is then established additionally in the city fee table is that developer deposit is added as part of it as well. The other thing that was added, that was requested, we did add a $282 fee for snow removals for sidewalks if people do not remove their snow. We looked at grass cutting, but we do hire a third party for cutting grass, so we just left that one off since it's a contracted rate for now.
All right, any questions?
The fee on snow removal, is that a one-time fee for each event, or is that for the entire season?
That's for one time for each event. We got that from the FEMA rates that are posted by the federal government.
Okay.
Any other questions, thoughts? And the fee schedule is separate from the ordinance, right? Ordinance references so we can adopt the fee schedule from time to time, so. But right now, we're adopting both?
They're separate in terms of the resolution and the ordinance are separate for you tonight, but I've
Okay,
included
I see
both
that.
in the
I'm sorry.
same memo, so I'm just going over both of them.
Yep. All right, if no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to at least approve the first reading and possibly waive the second and third for ordinance 0522, which is the city ordinance on developer fees.
Motion to approve ordinance 0522, first reading only.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made second to approve the first reading of 0522, which ordinance to repeal city ordinance 635-108, the fees. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the fee schedule then, which is in your packet. It's resolution 0222, that wouldn't make sense, though, would it? Oh, it's resolution, not ordinance. So this is resolution 0222, adopting the fee schedule and establish developers deposit policy.
Motion to approve Resolution 02-22, adopting city fee schedule and establishing developer deposit policy.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made to second to approve resolution 0222, which is a city fee schedule and establishing developers deposit. Is there any discussion on that motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is, our next meeting for ordinance is March 28th, 2022 at 5 PM. I know that's yours, Dara, right? Your committee?
Yep.
Health and safety, there's nothing right now unless one of the council members can think of something. We get a meeting going, but I don't think. Personnel, it's not in our packet, is it?
Is
Next
not.
one? Okay. Next item is personnel city administrator job performance review. I know Rob, is it Rob on the committee?
So am I.
Sundar.
Did you want to just give a quick review of how it went, or?
It went very well. We did,
Little bit of process, yeah.
so sorry. Maureen Otwell started several months ago in basically requesting input from staff members and input from council members, wanting to kind of find out where Matt was in communications with each staff member, what processes he was working with these staff members and council members. And Maureen did a great job. I mean, she really did compile all the information. Really, all of it was really positive. I think, some things that I stated personally was that this job is daunting because there's so many different things, right, Jane?
Right.
There's a lot to do. There's so many different things, and Matt coming from a different state, having to acquaint himself with Wisconsin TIF laws and do all of these different things, he's just taken it on so well. So it went very well. I was very pleased. I felt like the staff was very pleased with Matt's progress, and as well as council, so.
Rob, got any input there?
Nope, I think she covered it pretty well.
Yeah, basically-
He works really well with the council, and we appreciate that. We're informed. He made a few changes, take the redundancy out of things, and, made things go a lot smoother, so,
Yep.
yeah, kudos. Good job.
Yep, yeah, you got a good review, and I think, yeah, they still has things that we say we want them to work on and do, and Maureen did a good job at that, so.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd give everyone an update. Thank you. Next meeting for personnel will be Wednesday, May 4th, 2022 at 5 PM. And that is Maureen. Communications and new business. Public comments. Anybody in the audience on anything, whether it's on the agenda or not, or council, any public comments? All right. Oh, go ahead.
I was asked to bring up something,
Disposable way to set down.
there's a trailer that sits there on the corner of, mobile home trailer, sits there on the corner of Canton and whatever the frontage road there is, that appears to be unoccupied or dead, and a couple of folks in my neighborhood mentioned that if that was a parked car on the street or in somebody's yard, that would probably be something that we could bring up and address to the individual who owned that property, hey, what's the progress of this? Are you doing something with it? Is it going somewhere? What are we doing before somebody was issued a fine or whatever, had it removed or asked to have it cleaned up? And folks in my neighborhood asked if maybe, what the process is on that. Could we do that? Could the city do that? Or, because it's certainly not a welcoming billboard,
Well, Pat, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Working with the ordinance committee, we are actually addressing, not only taking a look, we're actually gonna take a deeper look at all of our zoning, commercial, industrial, but also our residential ordinances. So we're in the process of addressing also commercial properties that are in violation. And we have asked staff to go through some of these particular properties. That was mentioned as well. And hopefully we'll be able to have a greater discussion with some of these property owners.
So they have to be patient, because it isn't work, so how we might want to address this.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of balls in the air right now, but
Sounds like
we
you're-
are
sounds like you're-
addressing it.
sounds like you're on it. Thank you.
We're on it.
Thank you for the update, thank you for the comment.
There's been trailers on and off there for 30 years. And I know Mr. Pahacek is the person that we should maybe talk to
Yep.
about that.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
So just wanted to bring up as well, we are having an issue at our wastewater treatment plant with people putting down disposable wipes. Although manufacturers say they are disposable, unfortunately, they do not break apart, and they ended up clogging up and causing a lot of problems with our wastewater treatment plant. So if people could hesitate from putting them down the toilet and putting them instead in the garbage, that would be great.
Maybe we do a separate flyer too in our utility bill
Yep.
next time. I think, I'm
Absolutely.
assuming you're doing that, but that'd be wise.
So only thing down toilets should really be toilet
TP.
paper. That's it. Anything
$20
else?
bills, Matt would take $20 bills down.
Yeah. It might take a while to get.
You might have to
those
wash them
out.
up, but I bet you keep them. All right, thank you for the comments. We do have the other public comment, what was I gonna bring up? Oh, Jane, I forget, do I have to have names on the agenda for them to be considered for cable?
No, we can do a consideration for it.
It just happens, the only concern I have, and again, it's your consideration, next meeting, we'll vote on them. I got a Heather Hovey and a Christopher Hovey. They both have different addresses, but I don't know if they're related. So my concern would be,
They are.
if they were, but both on the committee, that kind of, one family member, they could run the committee, but they're both interested in being our cable commission. And I didn't know we had a couple openings till I think
Larry.
in the back row there, they mentioned, hey, we would, Larry back there in the cable room said, we could use a few people. I didn't know a few people dropped off. So I'd like the consideration of Heather Hovey and Christopher Hovey for the cable commission for next meeting. So if you have any questions, I've got apps is what we're trying to do more of, is just what's your background, so you kind of know.
I think
I'll
just
leave
making
with-
sure they're not related.
Great. I'll leave them with Jane and Matt, and if you want to see them, find anything else about it, great. And then next meeting, we'll approve them if everything looks good, okay? All right, special event application. We do have one for 502 Lake Street for the 4th of July. If you read it, I just happened to browse it again. They aren't shooting off fireworks, but they have this party, I think, every year on their property. And they just want to have I think they're having music, right? That's the biggest thing? The biggest thing, Jane, is they're gonna have music, I think, aren't they? And that's why they are asking for.
And do they have to separately take on an amplifier permit then as well, or does this cover it?
This would cover it.
think
Although
it
I
would.
think one of the things Chief Michaels just brought up was right now they're saying first, second, or third. In terms of, I think we just want specificity from them.
Well,
Just a
no.
one-day thing.
Oh, I see. Because here, if you look down further, date of event, they're setting up the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and the celebrations on the 4th. So maybe just clarify that it is just the 4th, and they're setting up for 2nd, 3rd.
Okay.
Good catch. All right,
Dave, where is that?
event information, 3rd line, well,
Look how
I read
pretty
there.
that looks.
Event title, oh, I see. Well, it does say date of event 1, 2, 3, but it also says date of setup 1, 2, 3.
Right.
So you want to probably clarify that.
Okay.
But that's, yeah, so it's 1 to 4. So I guess I could entertain a motion with clarifying it's just a 1 day and not a 3-day event. Would we have a problem with the 3-day event?
Yeah.
It's called Prescott Days.
Okay, so that's it.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a motion to approve a 1-day event, 1 to 4. And staff can, and/or the chief will verify what day they want, and we'll let staff kinda know that they can give them the okay for one day. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the request.
Motion to approve the special event application at 502 Lake Street for 1 day only for their 4th of July celebration, upon clarification with staff exactly what day that will occur.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made, second to approve the special event for 502 Lake Street. You only get 1 day from 1 to 4, and staff will verify what day that is and let them know that they get 1 day. All right, any discussion on that motion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is closed session pursuant to 1985-1E, deliberating and negotiating the purchase of properties whenever, it's due to whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session. So I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second it.
Motion made and second to go into closed session. Gotta take a roll call. Patrick?
Approve?
Dar?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Thomas?
Aye.
Motion carried. We are gonna go into closed session. Everyone has to leave. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.